Okay, guys, let's get into this battle, and I have my fingers crossed that our advantage in fighter numbers is going to be enough to break through these corvettes. Damage is persistent, so one of the corvettes is damaged down to 800, but I remain very worried. So let us release all of the fighters, group them into one formation, and let us cluster the carriers and indeed move the carriers away from the enemy corvettes who could tear through our carriers' armor, with our carriers only having really anti-fighter, anti-missile lasers aboard. When we get more powerful reactors or smaller components, we might be able to up the power on the carriers and so equip them with better anti-fighter and anti-missile defenses. I was very complacent in my first battle against the pirates as to how lacking that protection was, and I paid for it dearly. So let us. Right, so we should be able to dispose of their fighters pretty easily. And I think that will have been all of them. So what I'm going to do is try and come at these two ships from a sort of northerly direction in the hope that I can engage this corvette largely on its own, and take that out and then move on to the second one. Keep my carriers moving away. I could kind of use the carriers as a bit of a bait to wait for these to start firing at the carriers, but I just they're a bit too precious because of their ability to bring this kind of force to bear. And losing a carrier in that first battle really hurt me. So let's hope that we can at least bring enough firepower to break down this armor. And so it looks like we're going to get him at least. Whether we'll have enough to carry us through the second ship's anti-fighter batteries is another question. We've got 51 Vipers, 46. We are grinding him down. We've opened up with our shorter range lasers, and yes, well, you can hear the relief in my voice. I did not want to lose that battle again. So we lost a good number of Vipers, so we'll need to head back and restock. But at least we're coming from a position of restocking our carriers rather than having to rebuild them again. So let's get straight on. Well, we'll wait for this factory actually. So we'll put them second. How many Vipers did I think I needed? Another 20. So 23 I needed. Let's. Well, look, we'll just build. Still our plutonium problems persist, but hopefully we can start to address it in a more meaningful way when we start expanding outwards and getting some of these planets we need domes for. So. Yeah, so those Vipers are going straight into the fleet. Let us merge these Vipers with that fleet and dock them as well. Keep the Viper production. Well, it was coming. Why can't we build that? Because the factory needs population. The Vipers need plutonium. So we've got a bit of a bottleneck on both sides there, or on both items, which should be resolved in time. The population is increasing. So our Vipers are slowly ticking up. That factory still hasn't been built, but it is it's getting there. It is getting there. I think it's the population holding it up now rather than the actual need to build it. Our carriers are slowly being restocked, and the pirates have come to close the gap between us. So this time they've got 3 corvettes against 3 carriers. I think that's probably too close. I think we may have to build another carrier. I could try and design a ship-to-ship corvette and at least have somebody to go in with the fighters, but my experience is that at this stage the technology level is just a little bit too low to merit that. I don't find the initial warships very competent. Right, so we've got our technology for the atmospheric domes now unlocked, and that's going to be important. What else have we got? So munition supply system, gravity resonance tank. No, all good and cool stuff. I just don't think we need to necessarily prioritize it right now. I want that hydroponics plant, but I think that's a bit too far away to prioritize. So we'll just leave the research queue chug along as it wanted to. We're rebuilding the orbital ship yard above Terra. Once that's done, we'll start trying to crank out colony ships, because you can now see that the star systems with habitable planets are marked with a green triangle, and a lot of them have now become available. So hopefully we can start grabbing some of these, getting their resources, and using them perhaps as sort of stopping off stations to expand our range. But we still need to deal with these pirates first of all. So let's let the game advance. And in fact, I'm going to immediately stop the game, and I want another carrier, and I want another 20 Vipers to go in that carrier. I'm pretty sure we could see off the pirates' fighters right now. It's just those corvettes do have quite a lot of anti-fighter weapons. Well, I don't know if they're specifically anti-fighter. They can also attack capital ships. I just think because the guns are fairly light, they can be used in sort of dual role. So we've got superconductors, which is a theoretical sort of science, which will hopefully unlock some more interesting stuff for us. Let's put those. So at least these fighters are, all these hangars are full. So we've got 2 spare fighters there. So we can actually reduce these Vipers down to 18 and ever so slightly speed up that process. Still got our plutonium deficit. Let's just have a look at the economics tab, and obviously there's a lot of monetary stuff as you'd expect. Our resources are up here, but what I want to have a look at is the charts. I'm already chuckling. So controlled stars, the Logans are all the way up here with 18. We've got 6 colonized planets equally. I imagine there's 1 colonized planet in 1 star system, so the graphs are the same. Population, we're being absolutely trounced. Number of fleets, well, I think they could crush us if they really wanted to. I really should have perhaps not have pissed them off. They've got more science, infinitely more production, mining more minerals, and they're more developed, unsurprisingly, than us. Yeah, I'm worried about the Logans. These guys don't seem to have done too well, but I think that will be of little consolation when the yellow swarm heads north. I just have to hope that because of their sort of more central galactic position, whilst perhaps they've got more opportunities than I have, they've also got more threats as well, and well, that's what I've got to hope. Perhaps bigger fish to fry than me, allowing me a chance to recover from dealing with these damn pirates. So I think we've got our 4 carriers now. Yeah, the fighters are being built. Yeah, plutonium problems. We know about this. Terra still building that orbital shipyard, and yeah, I just want these fighters to be cranked out as quickly as possible now. And just thinking, where shall we colonize first, provided I can get my act together? I think it's going to be this desert planet, because we want the plutonium, the organics, which we've also got a shortage of, and it should then seal off this part of space for us. We can get a bit of a bottleneck. Obviously, it's not a true bottleneck until you actually build some defensive structures, and the Logans have come to my territory, hopefully just scouting at this stage, because I am incredibly reluctant to get into a fight with them. Gosh, they're expanding out this way as well. I really do need to try and secure. It's a shame I can't colonize Altair anywhere, because that would have at least given my other worlds some protection. Maybe Deneb too, perhaps. So we finished at least having the fighters constructed. Okay, guys, death and glory for the Empire. Oh, 80. So I'm pretty happy on the fighter front. It's gonna be those corvettes. How much of a flak barrage can they put up? This one's got ion guns. This is lasers and plasma missiles. Maybe the ion guns will be less capable of dealing with my fighters. So let's first of all group all the capital ships, then release all the fighters. It is quite good that when you press release the fighters, it automatically selects all the fighters, so it makes it a bit easier to group them all together, which is what I'm going to do, and I want to be covering this carrier on its own. Later on in the game, you can research sort of a technology that means you can choose where you warp into a system, and that means you can hold fleet formations, so that you can have a mix of ships. So you could have kind of a flak ship that deals with enemy fighters, and under its guns you can place perhaps more vulnerable ships then, like carriers, etc. And it gives you a greater ability to specialize your ships into sort of anti-capital ship brawlers, carriers, and here we go. I think we've decisively got the better of them in that engagement. 76. So it's the largest mass of fighters I've been able to produce this game. Later on in the game, you'll frequently see hundreds and hundreds of fighters, which is why I do like the tactical combat in this game. As I've said previously, I think it's a cut above the sort of strategic layer, but it helps to give the strategic layer purpose in my mind. So again, I'm going to try and come out. I don't want to take them head on here, because we'll get all 3 ships' weapons, and instead we'll come. In fact, I think what we'll do. Yeah, I'm just wondering whether. So ships do have a firing arc. My ships have got 360 because I've put the turret on the top, but it could be that they've got more limited firing arcs. I can't see them because I don't have the data. So what we'll do is we'll come just from behind slightly against this one. Let's put them into a hammer formation so that they group up a bit more. And yeah, let's wish them all the best in this endeavour. And already, okay, so obviously these ion guns are perfectly capable of at least engaging fighters. My fighters are dodging out of the way of a lot of the shells, and we are doing damage to this one. I'll be quite happy if we can at least take out this corvette, because we can always restock our carriers. And I'm wondering whether what we do. We still got a fair number. No, let's carry on. I was thinking about retreating and restocking, but I think we've got enough fighters to push through and decisively take care of this pirate threat once and for all. Great. Okay. Good. Very happy with that. So I was wondering whether I should have designed a sort of a corvette to deal with the enemy corvettes, but I wasn't convinced that would work, whereas the mass fighter swarm did. So let's see. We can't even get back to that star because of the low fuel. Now we do have a fuel hauler down here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to join that up with our military fleet, and at least we have some answer now if any pirates do appear, and I'm going to start cranking out colony ships again. Let's go for 4 of them. It is going to cause me resource problems, but that is just that's just the way of things right now. I may interfere here and just try and get another radiochemical plant built just to try and help with the plutonium deficit. I mean, ultimately, plutonium is increasing. Metal and organics are an issue, but we've still got reserves of those, and I'm hoping that by colonizing we can address that imbalance before it becomes a major issue. But right now, plutonium is our problem. It is causing us a bottleneck, so we need to address it. I don't think we'll be discovering much more of space right now. We really are getting hemmed in, which is annoying. So really what I need to do is try and secure as much of this as I can, and then maximize the resources that we get from it. Not many Earth-like planets, unfortunately, under my control, which does limit our sort of production, our population. So this is going to be a challenge, and the delay caused by those pirates could hamper me for the rest of this game. And how long this game will be now, I do not know. But I didn't rage quit. I stuck with it, and we at least saw the little buggers off. It's quite. I'm very lucky, really, because it's a pretty mild attack by the pirates. They blockade your planet. Yes, they destroy infrastructure that you then got to rebuild. But in Sword of the Stars, the first one, obviously the second one, I think it was unplayable. But the first one, they'd come and just wipe out your planets. So yeah, I do want this desert world. And so we'll go there. And yeah, I've got more colonizers queued up. Yes, we don't care about coming back, and we won't build any more fighters for the moment, just because I want to be really improving this planet and getting its industrialization efforts up. Because if we are going to go to war with the Logans, and I do feel that is likely, it's going to be the planet that hopefully churns out enough ships, enough space stations, fighters to hold back the yellow tide that continues to expand. So look, we're about to colonize the first world in quite a while, and it's got the resources that we need. Awful production potential, but to be honest, I wasn't thinking it was going to be great for production. So we'll go for Mineral Plus, and that then will the AI will take care of expanding our minerals. Now you'll also see that suddenly my area of space looks a lot healthier, because we've blocked off this area, so you can only get to these planets by coming through mine. We've effectively secured them in one sense. So we've secured them in the sense that you've got to get through me to get to one of these. Of course, all we've actually done is get a world with 1,000 people, no defences. So so the veneer of security is it's wafer thin at this point. But we've got to, we've got to do something. So looking over here as well, if I take Deneb 2, that may well get us another area of space. What I'm thinking is if we at least extend our boundaries as far as we can then kind of fill in the worlds within our sort of sphere of influence after that. So I've got another 2 colonizers coming after this one. Factories being built. So you can see here we've got 2 orbital shipyards built. So the hammer in the circle there, orbital shipyards, whereas Terra only has 1. So in fact now our world New Light is better at building spaceships and orbital structures than Terra is. And what I may do is design and build a space station here at some point just to try and improve its protection. What we could do is build space stations here, disassemble them, and then move them into the orbit of Deneb 2 and turn Deneb 2 into a bit of a fortress. Because I'm hoping that the Logans can at least maybe some of their numerical superiority can be contained by having choke points. But anyway, more theoretical science, which will unlock others. I won't read it all out. You can obviously pause the video if you're that interested. But more science is good. And we've had another colonizer again. Because I've got them queued up, it doesn't warn me that it's completed one. Obviously, we need to get our colonizers out fast, so that is a bit irritating. Now then, so we're going to go to Deneb 2. That should get all of this for us. Beta Sagitta, what has that got? A frozen world. And so poor plutonium, very poor production, but it's got a lot of metals. And you can, it's one of the ones that's going to be likely to be swallowed up by the Logans. So why don't we go get that one? I'm a little bit worried it may trigger a war because we'll be very much increasing the border friction, but otherwise we're going to have to go to war to take it. So let's try and grab it now. As I say, I hope the Logans themselves have got issues. Maybe they have been hampered by pirates like I have, but it certainly doesn't look like it. Deneb 2, let's secure that. So tiny production bonus, but yeah, it may actually not be such a bad production planet because we've got 16 production sort of slots here. It does have resource extraction points, but only 6 of those. Let us go with another industrialized world because it will make it far easier if we can churn out the various military assets closer, just that bit closer to the Logan border. Now we've also pushed out slightly in terms of the fuel range on this side, so we'll see what we can achieve and see whether we can explore a bit more over here. So our fleet is right. Okay, so they've gone up there. Terra, are you still? Yeah, still building colonizers. Okay. So where can this scout go? Yeah, so we've got a greater capacity now to just go that bit further out. It's not too exciting, but I'm going to irritate these guys by going through their territory. But I'm wondering actually whether we see whether they want to have kind of a cooperation, just on the basis that I don't want too many enemies. So we decided we were going to take Beta Sagitta, Kappa Pegasus. It's a desert planet. It's got resources, but no, look, we won't push our luck more on that front. I may come to regret it, obviously. What's that answer? Answer 3 is a planetoid, and it's got a bit of plutonium. Nothing too exciting. There were worlds over here I think we were interested in. Desert planets, frozen. I suspect the ones we were actually interested in have already been taken over, but there's not much we can do about that right now. Another oceanic world. Yeah, let us, if we can, secure... yeah, that's fine, we don't care about that. And I'm going to build another colonizer. I just want to get out and secure as many resources as I can right now. These Urgans, I don't know how... Yeah, I am, sorry. No, let's just end the conversation and let's have a look back at the economics. How well were they doing? So let's just remove the Logans. So yeah, these guys are actually behind me, not dramatically. In fact, they're doing better science-wise. Mine more minerals, but in terms of number of planets, I've got more than them. So yeah, maybe a potential target for our aggression. Perhaps we take them out in the hope that absorbing them will give us what we need to deal with the Logan menace. Okay, so we've got more population than we can support food-wise, and so we've got a food deficit now. One of the answers to that is those sort of marine farms. 255 years. I'm going to leave it alone for now. But I've found in previous games that it is the answer to early game food problems. If you run out of food, then your people do starve. They do start to riot, and so it's something you want to be avoiding. There's 2 anomalies here, so let's. Oh, if only we'd have got that earlier. Still, I'm not going to complain. Almost 3,000 plutonium, lovely, and a little bit of gravitonium. Well, I can't complain after getting that plutonium. That's a big help. So we seem to have resolved our plutonium problems anyway. And I'm just thinking, no, they're still building factories. Terra's building the colonizer, so we'll leave that alone for now. Let's continue exploring. I wonder whether Rigel can be reached. Right, so let us colonize Beta Sagitta 3. And from memory, we were interested in the metal here, weren't we? So that's minerals. Mining resources 10, so not amazing, but not too bad. And I mean, ultimately, these 2 planets are very exposed to the Logan. So what I'm thinking is we'll concentrate defense at Deneb 2 just to protect our wider empire, but we'll need some garrison forces down here to try and secure these planets. Ultimately, they may have to be left to their fate. So a super Earth. Okay, so we've run out of fuel and need to head back. Rigel can be reached. And so we've moved our scout. I've moved the scout over here just to see whether we can explore more. But I'm really going to irritate the low guns if I do